Hello, I thought I'd do a little vlog to try and mentally unpack this year's Caption Comics Festival. I'm going to launch with that, but later in the video I'll have a bit on holiday snaps, some of the cool stuff I noticed around Oxford. This year's Caption was Pirates Caption. Caption's an alternative comics festival happening in Oxford each year, which does things a bit differently, a bit riskier, a bit innovative and outside the box, with an emphasis on the social and the fun. And I just had a fantastic time this year. I got a few of the highlights were working madly, doing my lightning talk. So I did a 15's lightning talk on what Caption is and talking about the guiding principles of open source technology and unconventions, and the law of 2 feet, where if you're not finding yourself useful, you're not enjoying the space where you are, where you have to go somewhere else, to somewhere where you are plugged in. And there were other pieces, by Holly Riddle. A lot of the Caption talks I didn't actually get to, which is kind of part of the course when you're a committee member. And often there's enough going in the social space to feel that you're part of the festival. Of course, this year the social space was quite diminished in terms of number, because everybody wanted to get into the panels, particularly the well-being panel, the trans narratives panel, which I'm sorry I missed, but as the editor of the recorded videos for this year's Caption, I'm looking forward to seeing those. One of the perks of editing. Also, Broken Frontier 6 to Watch. 6 to Watch is a award and mentoring scheme by Broken Frontier Pioneering Comics Festival. Well, it is festivities, yes. Comics journalism site, or evangelism or activism, as editor-in-chief Andy Oliver likes to call it. I had Andy on a panel along with Rich Johnson of Bleeding Cool and Holly Riddle, ex of Broken Frontier and part of the Caption Comics Festival panel about comics journalism, maps and telescopes. And we had a lot of people come up to us afterwards and say how much they enjoyed it. I think there was a bit of anticipation. Rich and Andy do things very differently. Rich is at the populist mainstream end. Andy is working in the independent, sometimes obscure end, although you're really wanting to push those as comics as far as they go and make them something the masses can enjoy. And having Rich and Andy bring their own perspectives, and Holly's as an active artist slash illustrator, or in brackets, really came up with a bunch of unique perspectives. So that was like 2 bits in a row, and then my third on the Saturday afternoon was seeing an illustrated talk by the Rickard sisters, Sophie Writer and Scarlett Rickard, who you will have heard me, if you're no stranger to this channel, ranting and raving about their adaptation of Robert Tressel's 1910's ragged-trousered philanthropist, the atypical, one of the definitive leftist class narratives, in wonderful graphic novel form with full illustrations. So I managed to pick up a copy of their second adaptation from 1910, Constant Mods, No Surrender. It's a tale of suffragettes. Scarlett's adornments, visual adornments, kind of just steal the show. There's really good panel to panel narrative flow. There's a sense of the decorative. There's like changing styles, but still within the one. And this is going to be different from the Ragged Trousered Philanthropist, but I'm kind of fan for life, stand for life, and it was so good to meet these two women. And try like squeeze in about 3 minutes of Victorian geekery, and just like I knew as soon as I read the first book I got by them that they needed to be at Caption. And this is kind of, oh wow, look at this. So yes, Scarlett and Sylvie did a talk about how they make comics, what their process is. Speech Doubloons, it was called. Look at that decoration. That was brilliant. That's brilliant. And of course they do this with chapter titles as well. They have a dedicated the last chapter, break page, which looks absolutely beautiful. Kieran Gillen hosted a writer-artist speed dating adventure, which didn't go quite as well as planned, largely due to not having lots of small tables and not having equivalent writer-artist numbers. Like we had 4 illustrators, referred to artists unless you're using writer as artist inclusively. So 4 illustrators, 8 writers among the artists. But we managed to get pitches from illustrators, what they wanted to do, pitches to writers. Somebody who really impressed me in that was Sarah Cousins, who is included in the Caption Festival booklet this year, but is behind the Ghost Watch series. And Sarah stood out because she was just wonderfully candid in her criticism, a really good listener, but also bravely throwing up challenges to writers, as in, well, this doesn't work, and why are you making that choice? And not being afraid to be seen as a bit Discordian for the betterment of the creative process. Sarah's stuff is really dynamic. This is a series. Ghost Watch is a series of one-offs about a ghost hunting duo. This one written and drawn by Sarah from 2023. It's called The Animal Room. It's the first one, which I guess concerns itself with ghost animals. We had a pub quiz by Tony Hitchman. Tony Hitchman's a bit of a fixture at Caption doing a pub quiz, which, if you've been to Caption, you know Tony's quizzes. He specialises in eccentric comics research and gathering them together to fit the theme. So with this year's theme being pirates, Tony had a piece on the pub quiz was called Marine Monsters and Menaces, with some really unusual gems from obscure comics of the 40s, 50s, 60s and 70s. You know, where weird shit just happens. And I mean, the quiz in itself, regardless of the answers, which were like, what the fuckery, the questions, the explanations to the questions were just entertaining as heck. There's some of Tony's work. He's also a quite good illustrator himself. Quite fun. There's another on the back cover. And he makes educational books about how comics can be used in classrooms. He illustrates for those and writes some as well. We also had a workshop through the afternoon by Ed Hillier, better known as Ilya, author of Romo the Wolf Boy, which featured on Sunday Comics. And Ed just produced some fantastic stuff working with that group, and he was an absolute trooper in terms of volunteering, sitting at the comics table, the registration desk, and I got to spend... Ed, like Tony, is a caption fixture of many decades. Well, 2+. And it was really great getting to spend more time with Ed and getting to know him better. And yeah, so thank you, Caption, for that. The well-being panel on the Sunday was bunged out. Indie Comics versus AI was also quite popular. Can Comics Change the World was hosted by Sean Pickin. His first time hosting a panel, completely new to festival organising. He's been on the Caption Committee this year. And while I only got to catch the last 20 minutes of the panel, in which I only heard Sean ask one question because the others were just so delightfully mouthy. It seems Sean did an absolutely fantastic job, got singled out for special mention. And it was really nice getting to hang with Sean without the barriers of physicality, without having to go via the internet and just being in the same personal space. So he did really well. And Rich Johnson was on that panel. I mean, it was like a who's who. It was of British politics. Hannah Berry, Tristram, Fred's Collar Myth, the Rickard sisters, and Rich Johnson, who chaired the last panel type thing, which was a free ocean discussion on ethical piracy, which I'd love to have got to, and I hope it's been recorded. Rich and I got the chance to geek out about Press Gang. I was asking his advice about some exciting Press Gang stuff coming down the line, but I can't remember if he answered me. We just kind of geeked out on stuff. I got loads of swag, thanks to some people. Oh, here's somebody to mention, yeah. Oxford eBooks by Andy Severin of the sci-fi-cafe.com publisher and author service. And it was Andy's first year at Caption, and I told him he could get in for free if he volunteered. And he did, and he was never away from manning the comics and pubs stall, and he went above and beyond. We try and limit volunteers to like 2 hours a day, but he was batting home runs. So, like, really well played Dan. He was somebody I had a lot of chats with about publishing and just about Oxford and hanging out. We had 2 new volunteers from Polly Silk, who's a lecturer at Oxford Brookes in publishing media, and a recent graduate, Maya Fijek. She's from Poland, and I was showing her my snaps from my recent trip to Warsaw. We had some nice chats about that. Yeah, I got all kinds of swag. So, festival booklet, obviously. Last year's festival booklet, which my copy was a bit wrecked. I got a girly comic volume from J. Eels and Selena Locke, which has been out for maybe about 15 years. I guess I must have been really poor when it came out. It's got Lee Kennedy, as you might imagine. Oh, it's got John Robbins, who's fantastic. Dave Windett, Paul Harrison, Lee Kennedy, Terry Wiley, Mike Carey's done the forward on it, Cameron Kerr, Moto Draconis, Harry Franzman, Jeremy Day. Oh great, there's some Deborah Boyask stuff. Well, I think I've read that particular one. Daniel Merlin Goodbray too, Andrew Cheverton, Tim Keeble. So yeah, that's a tenner well spent. And I mentioned Moto Draconis there. They had I've known for about 26 years now, but had never picked up this book of their webcomics. So Tales from the Green Room, which I've got, and also Selena's own book, The Only Woman Aboard, The High Life of Lady Grace Drummond Hay, which I'm really looking forward to getting to. There's this pro stuff, I guess, based on Selena's research, and then a comic strip drawn by David O'Connell. So it was really great getting to hang with Jay and Selena again. They've got 5 or 6, they've got 6 years each under their belts as Caption committee members and are long-term supporters of the con. It's really nice to have that long-running friendship over a span of years. So yeah. What else? Paul Hatcher, House of Hatch. So Paul is best known to people outside of comics as appearing on the Linehan and Matthews Big Train Show, the World Staring Championship, taking his drawings and skits, and then animator Chris Shepherd, who was at last year's Caption, taking those, and by all accounts Paul seems to have been treated well. This is, looks to be something of World Staring Match type thing, with the same images being used again and again and repurposed. It's called Invisible Man United versus Invisible Man City. That's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, and of course Paul also wins the award for best title of any comic ever in the world. Dracula has stolen my arse. Even better. Paul and I had a good few chats last year. I think this year I got to know him a bit better. He's looking a bit healthier. Really good to reconnect with Paul. Jenny Robbins was the first person to come up to me and give me a comic for a review, and I'm so glad she did, because it's the only thing I have I've gotten to start reading so far, and it looks fantastic. It's a sort of comics, actually it's all comics, but it's about notable women, creative women through the ages, a sort of a feminist art history. You know, I'm not doing a very good job of describing this, despite being in love with the forward text last night. It's called A Woman's Artwork Is Never Done, and it's about great women artists. Lists a number of names already, and yeah, I think I probably want to do this first in the Sunday Comics Review, which I was thinking of putting off for 9 months, but with all this cool stuff, I can't leave it for very long. I'll be in there. So thank you to Jenny for this. Really, genuinely, I've got a really good feeling about that book. The last piece is by Christina. I wrote how to pronounce her name on my arm. but it got all like smudged up because I was using a heavy ink marker. Christina Steptic, one of those is right. And this is a proof copy. I mean, look at this, proof copy. Have you ever seen a more beautiful proof copy than this? Oh my goodness, it's... there's your proof right there. That's all you're getting for now. All you're getting. There's a Kickstarter coming soon. This is not Christina's first comic by a long bit, but it is the debut of publishing house Other Sun Press, run by Christina's partner, Emily Perelman, and they'll be doing a Kickstarter or Indiegogo to fund the launch of Other Sun, I guess, for this gorgeous work, and for other titles in their their oeuvre. And I really enjoyed hanging with Emily and Christina. Emily's generosity was great. She said some really nice things. Christina is a very opinionated artist like Sar, and I loved arguing with her, and we had quite a heated discussion in the bar afterwards when Christina, Emily, Ilya, Tony, myself, and whoever it is I've forgotten, it was also there. But it was one of those arguments, you know, from love, a place of love and respect and genuine interest in the creative process. So yeah, and Christine, Emily, I'm sorry I barely got to say hi to you on the Sunday. I hope you had a fantastic time. The auctions was a bit of a washout this year, so pretty much everybody had gone by the time it rolled around. Yeah, so hopefully they'll do something online. This year was massively difficult to organise. I found myself pulling, if not more work than anybody else, certainly about a third of it, or more. And there were a number of issues. So we said personal politics, personal abrasions. I don't want to get into. If somebody else wants to do that, I can fight back, no problem. But Caption is a fun event. I don't feel comfortable blabbing the stuff, but so by the end of it, I felt very unwanted and very unrecognised for my efforts. And Caption Chair Amy Letts was planning something, and despite I didn't know exactly what it was she was planning, but it turned out it was this box with this award. So I don't know if you can see that there, but I'm going to read it out to you anyway. It says, awarded to Andy Luke in recognition of dedicated service organising 6 captions. Caption Comics Festival 2026. I am not the only person to organise 6 Caption Comics Festivals. Jenny Scott, Jay Eels, Selena Locke, probably 1 or 2 others, Damien Cogley maybe. And I'm certainly not the person who's had to work hardest over the years. I'd say that would have been among the names I've just mentioned, and original committee members. Jeremy Day springs to mind in her joint roles as a committee member and an artist behind many of the workshops. And also, I mean, Caption does exist in a kind of an outlier committee way. So people like Ilya, Tony Hitchman, Al Davison, Matt Brooker, people who come back year and year and year and do extra things for Caption in a very supportive role, that make an effort to engage in the ethos. So, and we generally don't even do awards at Caption. It's seen as a bit, it makes me a bit uncomfortable too. Like, why should one person be singled out above anybody else? Everybody is a guest there. But having this kind of served the purpose, I think this is what Amy was intending when she presented it to me as an individual, more than as a committee thing, that your efforts are appreciated, your efforts are recognised, and yeah. And I might have even said, during all of the flippancy of the discussions in the last 6 months, I might have even said, I deserve an award. And yeah, I do. I'm not the only one, but I deserve this. So I accept. I'm keeping it. Talking of Amy, I would like to say a special thanks to Amy for going above and beyond. Some problems with how she did things, which I'm not even going to talk about, because most of what she did was fantastic. Like myself, carried an awful lot of work, juggled an awful lot, as she did last year. And quite frankly, I don't know how she did it. Maybe I do. I can't figure out. She's a self-employed artist like myself, living in Oxford, which is a higher level of higher cost of living than I pay. So, yeah. If you could reach out on, is she on Blue Sky? It will be Amulets, and also the name of her website, amulets.com. You'll find her on Facebook. So drop Amy Letts a line and tell her how much you enjoyed her work. Also Holly Riddle, liadT.com is her cartoonist's page. I'll put a link in the description to this video. Oh, did I even mention Andy Oliver? Andy Oliver is a massively beloved figure in the small press comics community, having done his 20 years as Broken Frontier contributor. Well, nearly 10 years as its editor-in-chief. And it was really nice to get to know Andy in the pub on a personal level, without huge amounts of built-up hype about him. And yeah, he's fantastic. So, perennial pub crawler and genteel, he's been referred to. Yeah, and like Rich Johnson, he's put a lot of push out for Caption. Okay, I'm going to let you look at some pictures in a moment of the beautiful Oxford Canal towpath. But I'm at the Harcourt Hill campus right now. They've got a summer school on, which you can see over there. I was going to sit in that bandstand, but they've got some people playing. Yeah. So it's a nice breeze. I might just sit here with some comics, some Dracula Arse Theft, and some Robinson's Mandalorian Grogu, 44p reduced to clear at Tesco, and leave you to the beauty of Oxford.
So I left my gerbils in the hands of some great people to look after. I sent John Ronson a picture of this, and he advised not to stare too closely. I decided not to let the gerbils review the book after all. So there I was at Belfast City Airport, off to change my t-shirt I packed about six because I was on a 6 day trip, but I ended up wearing only the two caption t-shirts during that trip. Economy caption tees are all you need. So 5 or 6 nights in a hotel life. I'm Alan Partridge. I made do with the bathroom sink as my fridge, the little work table as a kitchen, and I was introduced to this strange concept of television yet again. Oh, how far it's fallen with the series called The Middle, which is the worst possible remake of Malcolm in the Middle you can ever conceptualize. No connection with the creators of that original show. And MASH. Oh, what a guess. Alan Alda in focus. Yeah, the later episodes of MASH, all about Alan Alda, overly sentimental. And what's with Loretta Swit? Is her hair blonde or white? I did get to catch Babylon 5 in the Series 3 debut introducing Marcus Cole, so points for that. I lived in Oxford from 2005 to 2009, and with all the work I put in studying, running Caption, and so many other things, acclimatizing to a new place, I never really got the chance to spend enough time walking the canal towpath, which in the summer is just utterly beautiful. I'd set off from the Hythe Bridge, not far from the station, down the towpath, 6 minutes walk. These quaint little boats just sitting about. There's no place I can be since I found serenity. And so many of these wonderful canal shots. Walking down the towpath from central Oxford as far as Jericho. The negative was a ridiculous heat wave, but on the plus side, a beautiful sunny set of days to see these illuminations in all their glories. Bridges, bridges, all the little fish. We don't have any kind of sight like this in Belfast. So Oxford's great for being a big major city that still allows these natural wonders. An emphasis on conservation that has paid off. I came to the edge of the towpath and walked down a few minutes down the road to Port Meadow, which is just wonderfully big green space. This is the bridge below it, and I was just amazed by all the little fish underneath and the parents playing with their child. There's a dog in a shot here, just bouncing into the water, just utterly gorgeous. Hello, little fishies. Across the bridge, there's a pub where there was a wedding party. I'm walking on along the track, a little place to stop and sit, um, watch more fish, a boat moored nearby. I really wanted to try and get on camera the bigger little minnows down here, but they were quite tough to film. And it seemed I'd only get the bigger fishes the moment I turned the video camera off. And those nice little teensy ones were like right up to the rocks. And you see the ripples there in the water. They were certainly aware of my presence. Now you can just see in the far shore some cows. And this is the same spot and just an absolutely beautiful picture of the cows moving into the water to drink and just to try and cool off. So slightly an abrupt change here. I walked 30 minutes on down the road to find that instead of meeting with another canal towpath or a throughway, I was at a dead end with St. Margaret's Church of Antioch open 24 hours, so I could push the door and just walk straight into this place in the cool, in the quiet, and just marvel at it. Uh, this is a little place called Bolster. It feels just like you'd imagine it does. This is St. Margaret's outside. The more just sun and shade. Then one final walk along the towpath again. Just capturing all its gorgeous glory. Not even.
The view from the bus stop, just outside the Oxford Road Works. And the other side of that, just chaos. How come Oxford, of all places, takes 3 years? This sort of road works. Oxford, of all places.